Hi, I'm Rainey Van Dynen, and I do a bunch of travel photography along with my architectural photography. And I get a lot of people asking me, well, what do I travel with and what kind of bags do I use and all that. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and just kind of go through kind of what's in my bag and what bags I'm using and everything else. So with this, let's start out with the camera. I travel with the Sony A7R Mark III. It's a great camera. The lens on here is the 24-70, and this is probably the main lens when I'm traveling around. This lens is on the camera almost all the time, and I'm shooting wherever with it. It's a great all-purpose lens. This camera's been wonderful. I've had no complaints at all with it. It's been fantastic. It's 42 megapixels. So Sony's done a good job. This is their G Master lens, so it's 2.8, nice and fast. I like that. I do carry a backup camera with me. It's the A7 III. And again, it's 24 megapixels. It's great. It does a great job with video, and it's my backup camera in case I want to set two up. A lot of times I'll be shooting. I'll have this one camera up on a tripod and this one around my neck and just kind of taking some other shots with it. So love traveling with the two cameras. Now, the other travel lens I really like is the Sony 16-35 millimeter G Master 2.8 lens. This one's really wide and it's fast. So especially when I'm like in Europe or something, I'm shooting in dark churches or whatever. This lens is great, being 2.8. I can just open it up. It's really, really wide. Everything gets in focus. So it's between these two lenses. That's probably what's on my camera most of the time. The other lens I travel with, it's a little bit heavier, but it still comes in handy, is the 70-200 millimeter telephoto lens. It's nice if you need to get in tight on some things or change perspective. I really like it. It's the 4.0, so it's a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and I don't use it nearly as much as the other two, but when I do, it's wonderful to have. Now, I have 4 other lenses. Not all these lenses will travel with me every time. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing nature or if I'm doing architecture or city or whatever, you know, these lenses, not all of them will make it in my bag. I'm not that heavy, but one of the lenses that most likely will be is this 12 millimeter fisheye Rokinon, yeah, lens. It's great. It's a fun lens. You can change the perspective and things. It just makes for fun images. Love using it when I can, but you know, it may or may not make it depending on what I'm shooting. Like I said, I shoot architecture, and so usually one of these two lenses will make it in. Either the 24 millimeter or the 17 millimeter tilt shift lens by Canon. Either one of these two will make it in there. I have a Metabones adapter that attaches to the Sony, works great. I usually would not take two of them. They're big, heavy lenses, so depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing, one of these will make it. If it's, you know, a little bit more travel, there's a good chance it'll be the 17, so I can get some really wide shots. You know, if it's more like a city or something, this one might be the one, the 24 millimeter. So it just depends, but I usually will not take both of them at the same time. If I'm out doing nature, if I know it's going to be landscapes and some nature is going to be forests, I might take my macro lens. This is a 90 millimeter. It's really, really nice. You know, it's Sony's macro. It works well. Again, it's only if I'm, you know, going to be doing some nature or something like this that I'm really going to bring this lens. So that's all the camera gear I have. Let's talk about some of the other things that are in the bag. I have a Think Tank battery holder. It holds 4 batteries, which is great. A Think Tank card holder. They're small, they're light, they fit in there. That's what I really like. Let's see, what else we have here. I'll have a neutral density filter. I also have a polarizing filter, both of them. I also have some Lee filters I don't have shown right here. Neutral graduate filters. They're really, really good if I want to do some things with the sky or need to darken them down. So I have those too. This goes with me in case I need to clean things. You know, this is a visible dust sensor cleaner. Some wipes and cleaning off the front of the camera lenses with that out on when we're out. A little blower in case something's needed, and a lens brush. I always have a couple lights with me. This one, just a regular flashlight, no big deal. Little headlamp if I'm doing light painting, especially, you know, doing nature when we're out west or things like this and we're doing some light painting. It's really dark. This is great to have and it keeps my hands free. Speaking of light painting, there's another little tiny one that I'll use. It's small, stays in my bag. You know, bunch of little L brackets, battery charger, blower, and a flash sometimes. This may or may not come depending on what type of work I'm doing. And of course, a few model releases. These should always be in your bag with you. You want to make sure you can do it. Now, when I travel, I'm using Think Tank's Streetwalker HD. Now this bag has just been wonderful. What's great about it is I can go ahead and they have a pocket here that I can slide my iPad in and my laptop. So both of those will fit right in here. So that alleviates having another bag when I'm traveling. It also will, also it has a belt system on here, which is great. This is, I can't take the really big one, but this is a little belt system that used to keep the weight off your, keep the weight on your hips and off your back. Also, if you don't want to use the backpack, if you just want to use the belt system, you can have some of their pouches, as I'm going to show you in a minute, and just put those on and walk around. Now, this is done by Think Tank too. This is their belt system. Has a bunch of pouches. Let me say it again, pouches. And it's great. I love it. It just goes right on my waist. It keeps, I don't have to have a backpack. I really love this when I'm doing nature photography. Not so much in the city. You just can't keep things as protected as I'd like, especially in places where there's pickpockets and other things. So, but when I'm doing landscape, I love having this belt system. And if I want to, I can pop a couple of these off and throw them on the belt system on the Think Tank backpack. Now, when you're over in Europe and you're photographing, in Rome and Paris and London, a lot of times you can't get into places with big backpacks. So, and you can't bring tripods almost at all. So what I do is I bring this little Think Tank bag here. I can have my camera out and around me, and I can fit 2 or 3 lenses in here, plus batteries and cards. And this will go in, no one cares, it's not very big, it's a little sling bag, and it folds down really well to go in my suitcase, so it doesn't take up much room. If you're going to Europe or someplace like this where you can't take tripods into a lot of places, this is what you want to have, along with a platypod. That is another thing. I don't have it here right now, but it's a little thing. Look it up. It's great. You can set your, it's like a little tiny tripod that you can use with your camera, and most places will let you go without having, giving you a second look. Guys, that's all in my bag. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please email me at Randy at rvdphotography.com, and have a great day.